Hello, this is Kyla, and I am way behind on my 30 Inks 30 Days videos. If you want like up to date, day by day, just check out my Instagram. I've got two. You can, if you're interested in my fine arts and things like that, you need to check out Kyla Crawford _art. And if you're interested in, if you're a knitter or weaver and you love looking at fibery goodness, you'll want to check out Kyla's Lab, all one word, with no punctuation in it. I will have those in the doobly-doo below. Anywho, so we had left off with Diamine day 2, so I'm catching up for day 3 through today, which for me is day 6. So day 3, I filled up one of my technical pens, and which I still actually have ink in. I really like the Rapidograph Knorr, and they're just eyedropper. So you just drop in a little bit, and this is my first time using this pen with fountain pen ink and colored ink, and so far so good. Normally I use their brand ink, which is shellac based and will clog these guys. So if you are interested in technical pens, investing in a ultrasound cleaner is really useful, or ultrasonic cleaner is really useful. They're a lot cheaper now. I know when I was in high school, which is like a long time now, when I first got into these pens, and I still they're my favorite pens to draw with. So Diamine Sherwood Green is a really fun, nice, like Christmassy green, and it works really well in like thick pens, thin pens. I have, depending on what paper you're using, in my sketchbook it will feather in like a broad nib. I had just dipped a pen to do the writing for this. Oh, I forgot to do the water test. Do I have water nearby? No. I'll do that later. It's not permanent. Here you can see it's not permanent. But I really enjoyed the drawing. It's a really nice color for drawing. Here we go. Now you can see the full image. Like this I like for drawing. This one, it's a little too light for my liking. But this is like a really nice depth. There's a lot of contrast, and you're able to get a wider range of value, even though some areas I could have bumped up my value. See, when you're an artist, you see all of your mistakes. It's not that you don't like your work. It's you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I could have done this better. That's all. I still like I said, this is like my favorite drawing so far. Well, I like my other ones, but it was a really nice, fun way to get back into using one of these really fine technical pens. And this was a 0.25, which is really teeny tiny line. Especially when you compare it to like a regular fountain pen, it's these really super fine lines, which I love. And if you work with them really quickly, if you have a quick hand, you can get a little bit of line variation My instructors were always surprised with what line variation I could get with those pens. But here's this like witchy figure. I've been playing Paladins because it's free on Steam. And there's a character named Sirius who has this amazing goth witchy aesthetic. She has more covering in her breasts, but I decided to leave it off. And then I did a different, a runic type writing that's not saying anything in her trim. There we go, brain. So that is Diamine Sherwood green. It's a beautiful, beautiful green. The next color I did was a sample of Visconti Green, which I used up and could not finish and could barely finish my drawing, and it's not to my liking because I had to change things, and then some ink. I'll show you. This is not the Visconti Green. This is a different thing that happened where ink went through pages, which it's fine. This is my sketchbook. It's meant to get all funky and fun. But it was Easter, so I did an Easter drawing with this little rabbit type figure. And it's a nice color. There's no real water, what you call, it'll wash away. It has really nice shading. The only thing is I found it very similar to my next color, which is Colorverse Photon, and I have a bottle of that, so it's like, why am I going to buy a bottle? And they're really similar in the writing. There's more shading. If you're interested in this color, there's more shading in the Visconti than there is in the Photon. Let me pull out the Photon. And there's a bit of sheen that can happen that gives it a little bit more depth in the shading. But because I have this bottle, why, like, I'm not going to buy another bottle. They look more different on camera too, and I noticed that when I took some photography. But if you look at the pages, they're so similar that it's, and in person it's not worth it. I also noticed with these greens is on the Tomoe River paper, they are like more blue, and on my sketchbook paper they come out warmer, like more and like the color of the paper, they're both like pretty white. So I'm wondering like what happens with like how the ink and dyes react with the, and colors reflect with the absorbency versus like non-absorbent. What I used was I eyedroppered this beautiful pen BBS pen, and I like a long pen like this because I've got a painting background and an art background, so like I like having that versatility to move my hand when drawing. And this has the pen BBS round medium nib, and I did notice a difference between their like regular nibs and their round nibs. If you like a little bit of if you like a Fude nib, which gives you a little bit more line variation with how the angle, that happens with their regular nibs. So if you shop for a pen BBS, just bear that in mind. But I really love the threads on this pen. It just, I love, yeah. And then I eyedroppered it so I could watch the ink slosh around. I put the converter back in for the rest of 30 Inks 30 Days. So that way, and I notice that I get fatigued with ink colors, which I am here with that color, right, like this color right now. I am like totally fatigued. So this was the bunny. Easter was day 4. This is day 5. But I had this color in my pen, the Photon in my pen, for a couple months prior, and then I had the Visconti Green, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of this color. So I filled up just a tiny fill on my parallel 6-point, it's right here, 6-point millimeter. So I could like use this ink and clean it out and not use it for a couple months. So, and that's where I am with the next ink. And so anyway, this, if you look at my photo, because I ran out of ink mid-drawing, and I'm like, I don't care. So I just took a picture so I could square it off of my little guy. This is one of my little like happy spirit like creatures that I like to draw. And here are some more for our last day. And I had recently inked this Colorverse ink as well. I think I had some contamination with the swatch because it looks like completely different. And I have what I do with my swatches, which I think I've explained before. And this is a sample from Van Ness. I still have ink on it. I used up my Visconti sample, which always feels like really great, using up a sample. It has some nice sheen, red sheen to it, and it comes out bluer on the Tomoe River than it does in my sketchbook. In my sketchbook it comes out greener. And like I said, I had this, so I used this Wing Sung, which I replaced the nib with my Pilot Plumex nib, so that, which is a medium stub. That way I would have more ink in it in a body that felt more robust. I love the Pilot nib. I'm not a fan of the body of the Plumex, but I'm also, and I wanted to try a vacuum filler, but this one, the build is not that great. Or at least my pen isn't. The threads have cracking. Luckily ink isn't leaking. And then in the cap I've got rusting in that machine screw, so I need to replace that. Chris Signs from here on YouTube talked about having to replace her machine screws and which size to get, so I need to like find that video where she talked about that because of rusting. But it's just, and then I also had problems with hard starts with this. Well, ink was flowing, and so I don't know the magic secret. Clean out is really easy with it though, but it is a really like juicy writer. I might try it with putting in the feed from my Pilot, but I like the clear feed because then I can see the ink. I don't know. Let me know if I just got like a weird dud, or your experiences with this pen, with the Wing Sung 3013. I know there's the other one that uses the style nib, but I can't remember which one it is. But I don't want to, I also like don't know if I want to waste my money on that, because I can also go to the local, one of our like Japanese markets has a Kakuno stationery shop in it, and they have Pilot oh no, it's Pilot Kakuno. I forgot the name of the stationery shop. It's a Japanese stationery shop that I can go and pick up to put this nib in, and then I can try the little smiley face nibs. But anyway, so these are my little drawings from 30 Inks 30 Days. But my pen kept like having hard starts in the middle of my drawing, which was frustrating. But I do like how it came out. And that's where this happened, because I'm like, well, I'm gonna pull the plunger, and then I pushed it back in like an idiot, and ink just like flew out. Oops. So that is Colorverse Bluish Green. So on Tomoe River it looks more blue. On more absorbent paper it looks more green, and of course there's less sheen. There's a little bit of red sheen, but not anything that completely disguises the original color or the color of an ink. Here's another drawing that I did before 30 Inks 30 Days with this ink. So it's really, it is a great ink to draw with. You can get a nice wide range. And this was using my Moonman T1 with the fine nib. That pen's heavy. My hand isn't that fond of it. Oh, I like, I got a better picture. Here we go. This is the Visconti Green, and it is a really great accent color, but I don't necessarily like it for a full on its own image. And then I have another, here it is. And you get some really cool color separation and chromatography with the bluish green. So there I was playing with a water brush on top of my drawing with this ink. So that's catching you all up until tomorrow, which hopefully I'll be able to film tomorrow. We'll see. So yeah. I guess I should put, so you all can see the 4 inks that I worked with. Working through the green and blue towards the blue family. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.